Wait on the Lord. Your delay is not a denial. Habakkuk 3 verse 2. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Beloved, God never delays His promises. Has God given you a promise that has yet to be fulfilled? Sometimes while reading the Bible, a verse lit up, you blinked, having never really noticed before. The words jumped off the page and pierced your heart. Or maybe you received a specific answer to a request while you were praying. But then nothing happened. In fact, your circumstances turned for the worse. Did you misinterpret God's intention? Was it all in your head? Where are the promised blessings? Look at this. As a young man, God gave Joseph, the son of Jacob, a promise that one day he would rule among his brothers. But then for the next 13 years, everything went exactly opposite to the promise. His brothers, who hated him, sold him to the Egyptians. Genesis 37 verse 28. As a slave in Potiphar's house, he was falsely accused of raping his master's wife. Then he was thrown into prison and forgotten. Genesis 39 verse 20. Joseph refused to let his circumstances shape his outlook. He allowed no self-pity or bitterness to rob him of energy. Instead, he chose to use each circumstance, whether at home, at Potiphar's house, or in prison, as God's appointed place where he would serve him with all of his heart. God eventually blessed Joseph as he was made a prime minister in Egypt and made him a blessing to others. Instead of using the delayed promise as a reason to grumble against God, Joseph kept it in the back of his mind to give him courage and strength. He let go of expectations of how and when God would carry out the promise he had given to him. In the meantime, God was up to something much bigger than he could have ever imagined. In time and in God's time, Joseph's life changed. His wisdom and loyalty was recognized. Eventually, he became Pharaoh's right-hand man, the second command in all of Egypt. In this role, Joseph ended up saving the lives of his whole family and became reunited with them. He also saved most of Egypt from starvation. God has a good plan for our lives also. That's why he says in Jeremiah 29 verse 11, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." The plans may not be as grand as that of Joseph, but God has a purpose for each of us. These are not just words written down for people thousands of years ago. They resonate with us today. God's promise is real in any age and time. We might have to wait for that promise to come to fruition though. Psalm 27 verse 4 says, "Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart." Wait, I say, on the Lord. Trust him even when life doesn't make sense. There is a purpose in what you are going through. Romans 5 verses 3 to 5 say, "And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience, and experience hope. And hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Ghost which is given unto us." Perhaps God is trying to correct your course. It could be that he is using these trials to teach you to lean more on him. His timing can strengthen your faith. You may be going through this because how you respond may influence others in their decisions to follow Christ. It is possible that wading through all of this mess in your life will help you lead someone else through a similar circumstance later on. Like Joseph, we may not see the purpose for our struggles until much later. But also like him, we should remain faithful and trust that God knows what is happening. God may seem silent, but that doesn't mean he has walked away. He is actually at work in the background. Like a building going up behind a wall, we can't always see progress, but that doesn't mean that nothing is happening. God's plan is being carried out, and this set of circumstances are needed to prepare you for those plans. As Joseph Flies points out, even tragedy and evil can be part of God's plan for good. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him and who have been called according to His purpose." A delay is not denial, but a time of preparing you for the promise. It is very hard when we cannot see God in action, but that doesn't mean He isn't acting on our behalf. I am sure there have been many times while he was in prison that Joseph quietly called out to God for strength. It's okay to do the same. But like Joseph, never give up on God, because whether you see the evidence of it or not right now, God always has a plan for you. Grace and stay blessed.